Okay, guys, I welcome you all today to another section of the Photoshop class. Today, we are going to design a simple piece that will help us to do our practical essence. So let me quickly share my screen. Then we start. If today is your first time you are coming across this channel, KJA Graphics, consider subscribing. Then you will not be left out when it comes to graphic designers. Trust me. Okay, so this is my screen. So we are going to design a simple piece, as I said from the beginning. So with much ado, let's quickly create our canvas. Okay, let's create our canvas, which we all know if you want to create a canvas, the first thing that you will need to do is to do what? Go and create your canvas. So we make use of the file. Then when you are done clicking the file, then the next thing you do, you go to new. Okay. But take notice, you can see aside new, there is Control+N, which simply means that if you are on your canvas here and you want to create a new canvas, then thing you just have to do is you can go by Control+N, then the new canvas will be created. I hope that is clear. So you can see that. Okay. So if that is done, then the next thing to do is to make use of your width and height. Choose the size of them. So I want it to be square. So if that is set, then we will need to set our what? Our height. We need to set our height, and we will need to set our width also. So we are doing it 10 by 10, and don't forget our unit that we are using is inches. Okay, so now let's quickly create it. So as this is set, now we can now start creating our design. So the idea is we want to come up with a poster for barbering shop, a flyer for barbering shop. Okay, so let's quickly dive into that. So the first thing that you will need to do is to go with your shape tool. Then you create something, create a shape like this. And don't forget, we'll create another shape also like this. Okay, but before that, let's give a fill to our shape. You can choose any color. Okay, then when we are done taking it, you can see the layer column. So far, this is the first layer we have worked with. So the next thing you will do is to duplicate this layer, which will be Control+ what? J, not G, J for jaw. Then as you do duplicate for that one, or as you duplicate that one, then the next thing you need to do is to what? Enlarge this one to meet the first one. Then you hit done. Okay. Now you can see we now have two layers here. So the next thing you need to do is to now start bringing in your resources. So let's quickly go to our resources. Now, if you are wondering where the resources is, check your description. The resources are there for you to use. Just click on the link, download them, and you start your design. If you don't have Photoshop and you are wondering how you get Photoshop, hit our Telegram channel. We have a full video there that will be a guide to you to what? Download it. Now let's quickly start bringing in our what? Resources. Okay. So the first thing that we will do is to bring out the resources, which is the background. Okay, so now let's quickly do that. So we just drag and draw in the Photoshop. So this is our first one. resources. This is our very first resources that we will need to work with. Okay, so now as that is being said and done, we'll give it a time, let it load, then it will be placed here. That is it. As I said from the beginning, this is KJA Graphics. If today is your first time, what are you waiting for? Hit on the subscription button. Hit on it. Yes, that is the best decision you are doing now. And also don't forget to turn on the notification bell so that next time that we upload video, you will be notified. Okay, so now let's quickly wait for it. It is still loading now. It has come now. Okay, so now the next thing we do is what? We will now position the layers. Kindly pay attention here. We will not position the layers one on each. Or no, this is the first one we created, right? But now we want these ones to be on the second one, which it is. Okay. So the next thing we do, you will go to the picture or the background. When you go there, you right click on it on the layer. Let's make sure that the mouse pointer or the arrow is exactly on the exact picture you want to do the clipping mask on. What you're coming to do is called clipping mask. So as you right click on that particular picture, you will see this interface pop up. Then you go to what? Clipping mask. Okay. Then you have something like this. So meaning we have clipped these on the first layer. So now what we are going to do again, we are going to our resources again. Then we'll pick the next one, which is this very one. Okay. It's this very one which we have done. Okay. So we just wait for it to do appeal. Okay. So let's go back and pick it again. I think there's a problem with that. So let's click it and make it again. So we now have this as our next resources. So the next thing we are going to do is to do the positioning also for this one. So we go to the layer panel, then we drag it and bring it on top of that shape. So you right click on that one also, then you do your clipping mask. Okay, that is it. Make sure you have a little excess around your canvas so that you don't finish work, then you find out that some of the sides for the canvas are not covered. It is a painful journey to do that. So always be a safeguard, but one bringing or giving it a little excess. But so the next thing that you will do is to hit on this particular image. As you hit on that particular image, then you will go to filter. When you go to filter, then make sure the layer is selected before you go to filter. Okay, if not, you'll be frustrated. So to avoid that, make sure you follow everything cleanly. So you go to filter, then you go to Gaussian blend, then you go to Gaussian blend, then you set your radius to 20. Okay, what you are trying to achieve is you are trying to blur this. It is too sharp. It is a background we are setting up. The background necessarily is not a focus for our design, but just to give it that nice look, that beautiful look. You understand? So as much as it is needed for us to have a background, does not mean you should take attention from the main content that we are creating. Are you clear with that? So now let's hit done. Okay. So now we have something like this. So the next thing that we will need to do is to start creating our shape. So let's go to the shape tool again. This time around, we are going with the rounded rectangle tool. Depending on the Photoshop that you are using, it will speak up for itself. But this particular one, we have the rectangle tool and the rounded rectangle tool splitted differently. But some of the Photoshop, it is being merged in one. It is just the same approach. Just pay attention to it. Now we are going with the rounded rectangle tool. Then we now draw our rounded rectangle, something like this. Is that clear? Then you will go, this one, you will not give it a feel. Pay attention, please. You only give it a stroke. So let's give it a stroke of color white. and let the radius be 4. Okay, then you hit enter on your keyboard. You can see that showing already. And the next thing that we'll do is to still create another Photoshop. I say Photoshop shape. Okay, so we create another shape. But this time around, this one will give it both a stroke and a feel. This one you can choose any color. The only thing is that at long or at the end, we'll be doing clipping mask for you so that the feel will not necessarily be showing. So you don't really have to waste your time on a particular or this particular one. So the next thing you need to do is to select your move tool. I want to be sure if the tool is not drawn on one layer, you will be doing mistake if your two shapes are being drawn on one layer. Trust me, you'll be frustrated. So you need to be paying attention to that. Okay, so the next thing we'll do is to duplicate this particular one, the black one. As we duplicate it, then we'll bring this over here and make it reduce the size, something like this, then we'll position it well. Okay, you follow me. Now the next thing that we need to do is to position or bring this one to the end slot, okay, to be repositioned to or attach it to the end. So the next thing we need to do, as I said, is to select the two layers. So for you to select the two layers, you hit on the first layer, you hold your shift key on your keyboard, then you select the next layer, and you can use the movement, the move tool, not this move tool. On your keyboard, there are some arrows down, up, side. That tool you can use to move it. You understand? So you have something like this. This is okay. Let's move it again. So this is okay. So let's come back to this layer as well. Let's link it. Let's prolong it a bit. This is okay. Okay. So now the next thing for us to do is to duplicate this particular layer. So for us to duplicate is Control J. Then we'll bring it down. Okay. Or something like this. Control J for this one again, then we bring it down. Okay. So the problem we are having here is that the layers are too big. So what we are going to do is to select the three all. So as we select all of them, then we will make it or we reduce them in size. Okay. As we reduce them in size, we hit down, then we now position them again one after the other. After the other. Okay. Then one after the other. Okay. So this is okay now. It's okay now. So the next thing. So the next thing that we do is just work with the positioning. Okay, that's what I'm just doing. So we have something like this. So we are good to go. Now the next thing that we need to do is to take our shape tool again, right click on it, then we go to an ellipse tool. Ellipse tool. So when you click on ellipse tool, then you try and draw your circle here. The reason why the circle is given an oval shape is because I do not hold my shift key whilst drawing it. So when you apply the shift key, you're going to give it that perfect circle shape. Okay, so let's do that. So you can see we have a perfect circle shape now. So now let's go and give it a feel. Let's give it a feel of, let's say, white. Even though we'll be doing a clipping mask for it, let's give it also a stroke of white. It will not show now because it is white. So now let's increase it to reduce our pieces to 4 pieces. Then we hit our control. Then we now have something like this. Okay, I think it should be a bit bigger than this. Then we just hold the shift again. Okay, so I think this is okay now. The next thing we do again is to go with the shape tool again. Then we go with the random target tool again. Then we draw something like this. Okay, then this one will give it a feel of yellow. This one will give it of yellow, feel of yellow. So that is it. And the next thing that we will need to do again is to do what? Go to the pen tool. Try to pay attention. Go to the pen tool. Then we are trying to zoom so that we draw another shape there. Okay. So this is the shape I want us to draw. You draw, make your first node with a pen tool. Come in. When we go to the pen tool, make sure no layer is selected. For you to deactivate that, or for you to make sure no layer is selected, you come to the empty space here. Okay, then you do what you do double click here, then it will automatically not select any layer here. Okay, so now you can go back and select your pen tool, which you hit P on your keyboard, or you can come to this particular one and click on it, then you select pen tool. Is that clear? Now you make your first node, make your second node, okay, make your node again. Let's start that again. Let's start that again properly. So you make your first node, right? Let's come here and make this node, make this node, make this node. Yes. So this one too, we should give it a feel of what is yellow. Is that clear? Then we have something like this. Okay. So now if it is that is rightly said, then the next thing we do is to what? Go to the test. Then we hit our test. Then we write what? Make sure it's in caps. So we write what? Contact. So the font I'm using here at I believe it will be Bastro. Yeah, Bastro. I want us to use what? Area, or Montserrat. Let's use Montserrat rather. So as we go to Montserrat, then we go to that's a semi-bold. It's okay. Then we move it above. That clear? Now the next thing for us to do is to also write our location. So for the location's sake, we can write something like this. We can write behind okay, so we can now have something like this. Then we go make it small, bring it up here. You can see that the space between the two is too wide open. So you come to your properties to adjust that. Oh yeah. Let's go to the characters. You adjust that in the character. If you're not having your character here, where you will locate it, if you go to Windows here, click on Window, then you see your character here. That was understood. So now let's go back to our character. And you see this particular sign is the one that will help us to minimize the space in between, help us with the space and vertical space. So now we have something like this. Now the semi bowl is not shooting, so let's give it bold rather. So I think the bowl is now okay. So let's increase the size also. Increase the size also. So you have something like this. We can adjust it small or rotate it a bit. And we have something like this. Now let's make up our size back. So you can see it is now taking a shape. Is that not it? Now the next thing we need to do is to give it a name or our company name. Okay, so for us to achieve that, we need to give it a name. So I am going with KJA Joe. Hit done. Increase the size. Okay. Because something one principle of graphic design is we call it attention. Okay, attention simply means what will draw people's attention when they view your graphic design. And you know graphic design is beyond designing. Actually, it is to communicate an idea or to send an information to the viewer. Okay, so don't forget that is what we are doing. So the next thing that we need to do here is to go and help give it extra blue, or let's do it black. I think this is okay. Then we can also give it a color of white. Yeah. White is not shooting. Okay, let's give it white and give it the white. Let's give it white the stroke and see. Okay, so we are all trying to do a design. So let's give it a stroke of black and let's see. Okay, so the next thing that we will need to do is to also write stylish. Actually, I got this. I'm inspired by these. I get inspiration for this design from Pinterest. Okay, so if you really want to know, you should go to Pinterest. You get more designs there. Okay, so let's quickly give it no, it's a font. This font, I really love this font. It's nice. It's stylish. Okay, so the next thing that we need to do is to now what put our contact there. This is a simple design. Stay tuned. Still connected. Follow clearly. So let's put our number there. Actually, this is my number. If you need information about graphic design, don't hesitate to hit me. Call me, I mean soon. Then we discuss it. So this is it. Okay. Okay. Then let's give it extra bold, or let's make it bold. Let's bolden it. So now we have something like this. Let's make this a size also. And now have something like this. Okay, so now you can see it is in taking shape now. So now let's quickly go and bring our pictures. After that, so let's go bring our pictures to our first picture. Okay, so now let's reduce the size of our first picture. Put it here. Okay. Now we have to go and locate this shape. So this is where it is. So we go down bring it up and switch up down. So we now have this and this, then also repeat the next. We can position the picture one. Position the picture one. Then position the picture one. Okay, so now we have something like this. Let's go and select our next picture again. history of this guy here. I don't know if you recognize your comment his name, let me know. Okay, so now the next thing we will need to do is to also locate this shape by hitting on it. Let's hit on the shape. Then we locate it here, the layer panel. Bring it, send this one also up. So with that, okay. Also, we'll click on the picture. And you do pretty much find your position as well. Okay. This is okay. So I think this is okay. Now go back again, select your next image. All these pictures are gotten from Pinterest. Okay. So make use of Pinterest. The top of the channel is you can get your pictures from. So this one also upload. Okay. You are confused about something, don't forget to YouTube and ask question, and I will answer you free of charge. I love teaching. Don't do anything for me. So you make it. Okay, so position it to run. Then we have something like this, right? But the next thing that we need to do also again is to go and select our next picture again. Then we have something like this. This one also. Maybe pretty much have something else. Have something like this. Okay. So the next thing that we need to do is to quickly also go and bring our logo. Okay. Make it small. Put it on top. Hit OK. Position. Locate all the distance. Bring it up. There, see the assembly clicking mouse from it. Click on it. You have something like this. Position it on it well. If it's big, position it on it well. You have something like this. Okay. Believe it is resembling something now. So particularly if you will change the color for this one, this. Then the last thing for us to do is to go, so we go and pick our location. Okay, this is KJA Graphics. If today is your first time, don't forget to subscribe. Subscribe. Comment when you are watching from which country are you watching from. I would like to be a friend to you and close my friends. So hit my number, which if you are chatting or watching from a different country, don't forget our country code +233. So you take off the 0, you add +233, then you can get me on WhatsApp. And we chat. So I hope that is clear. Okay, so let's quickly go hit our location icon. Those there. Okay, I found it. I have found it. So this is it. You grab it here. Now, coming to attention of what I'm talking to. Normally, when I want to remove a background from my resources, what I do is to go to Adobe Background Remover in my browser. I'll drag the picture there and the magic will come out. The reason why I love that, because when Adobe Background Remover will remove the background for you, the quality is maintained. The picture quality is being maintained. But this one, we are going to use the Photoshop itself to do because the picture is having one color background. With this, it find it easy to remove. But if the color are so mixed, then it becomes a little challenge, which it can also do, but it will take your time to do. So let's quickly go, which we use the eraser tool to do that. So I click on the eraser tool, make sure it's on what the magic eraser tool. When you hit on that, then you now select your picture. They actually, you are sure you want to, do that. You okay. Then you will move the background. You don't have something like this. Go back to your book to make it to know position it well. Downward. You understand? Then click downward. Hit side position it well. So we are now cooking this design. Who is ready to eat it? That's just by the way. Okay, so now we are not done. This is the last thing for us to do. We need to, enhance the whole image or the whole design, give it a kind of brightness and stuff. So the thing you are going to do, you're going to hold Shift plus Control plus Alt plus E on your machine. Let's go. So you see, as we have done that, it has what? Give us this layer now. So you can now make sure the layer is selected. Then you go to filter. When you go to filter, then you now go to what? Camera raw. Is that okay? Then you wait for it. Then it will now give us a different panel that will be pop up. When that panel pop up, then we can now do our adjustment. So now, we have this now. So the next thing that we need to do is to do this. The background color is what? Kind of purple. And if you can see this, it's also having a purple. So let's increase this, So you can see the brightening coming. You see that? So now let's increase the backgrounds also. Let's increase the texture a bit. Yes, let's increase the clarity. Are you seeing the change? You see the changes? The exposure should become, let's increase the contrast, I think this is okay now. So let's hit okay. So now we are now creating our flyer. So this is how you see it. A student, one of my students messaged me that she doesn't know how to save in Photoshop. Please pay attention. This is how you save. You go to file. When you go to file, go to save as. Now, when you go to save as, what the next thing you need to do here is to select where you want the file to go. So let's take desktop. So meaning after saving it, the file will be located, or the file location will be desktop. Now, the next thing you need to do is to give it a name. So let's see which name are we going to give this. Let's say KJA. Let's be caps. KJA Joe Barbering flyer. Okay. Then the next you should pay attention to is this particular one. When you see, we are not trying to save it in format. So when you see these, we have a different formats that we have here. But our focus for today saving is on two. The first one, which is the PSD, meaning we are going to save it in a source document form. What I mean by that is that you are going to save the file which will be in a Photoshop format or Photoshop source format, which means that whenever you click on that, you can be able to edit it, or others will say you are saving it in a project format, which means next time when they probably want to do some adjustment, you can quickly reach on it back. Then it's open in the Photoshop software. Then you can now go and do it and work on it again. You understand? That is why you pick this one. Okay. But if you want to save it as an image, that is when you will do what? Take the first JPEG. Okay. Are you getting it? Meaning you are saving it as an image. You understand? Now, the last thing let me add is the PNG here. The PNG work when you are designing you put that down, right? Then you can now take the image. Okay, is it clear? So the source document is the PSD, the image format is the JPEG here, and the logo format is the PNG. Okay, now we are making use of the JPEG. Okay, now let's see it as a source document first. And when you see it as a source document first, it will help you not to use it. Okay, it will save time. So I'm now going back again to save it again as well as a picture or as an image. Okay, so you go to JPEG. As you go to JPEG, then you can now go JPEG. We are now going to okay. So we are done. Thank you for following up to this end. See you next time in the next video. This is KJA Graphics Academy. Bye. Bye.